How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We just had a bank fall 20% in minutes. We also have news that there are a lot of entities getting into Bitcoin now, and maybe one that's about to get into Bitcoin, Vanguard, because their CEO is quitting. This is nuts. There's a lot going on. This is another crazy day for the Bitcoin ETFs. I'll give you updates on that. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one as soon as I make them. There are also going to be a couple links down there. One to Margex in case you want to start trading cryptocurrencies there. This is one of the best places to trade them. This is a boutique exchange, and they've been able to keep their fees much lower, their funding fees much lower than other exchanges. It's kind of crazy because they can go with some smaller platforms, liquidity providers to help them because they are smaller than something like Binance. So they've been able to not get pushed around as much because they're working with some smaller companies to provide liquidity, which reduces your fees, which is awesome. Definitely check this out underneath the video. There are a lot of different ways that you can trade too. Like you can trade Bitcoin, but you can trade with USDT, or you can trade with Bitcoin, or you can trade with Ethereum. Like you can use those as collateral for Bitcoin trades, which is really cool. There's also going to be a link to CoinW underneath the video. I just made a full video on them on a video. I did a video review of the platform. I really like it. And you can also buy spot there, which is important because yesterday Coinbase shut down. You want to make sure that you have multiple places to trade. So definitely check out this link underneath the video. Now, Bitcoin has been a little bit volatile today. We've been going from about 60,000 up to about 64,000. I will say though that it's stuck pretty well in this range. Like we kind of bounced off 60,400 and started moving back up. Now we're coming down a little bit, consolidating. If we consolidate over 60, that's extremely bullish. And I know that there are new people coming into the market because I just made a video talking about how something was falling fast, and I talked about Bitcoin miners. And yet people didn't watch that video. They just left negative comments saying that I need to stop making so many videos and stuff like that. If you like the video updates, let me know in the comments section because I have been making a lot of them over the last few days. But we're a dynamic channel, dynamic video production. So some days, if there's not much news, I'm not going to make many videos. Some days when there's a lot of news, like the last few days, I'm going to be making lots of videos. And you can choose which ones you guys want to watch. BlackRock just is going to launch their new Bitcoin ETF in Brazil this Friday. Now, I don't know if this is the same IBIT ETF that they're launching in Brazil, like if it needs to go through approval with the Brazilian government or if it's some separate ETF. I'm not exactly sure, but you know, there are going to be more people that can buy it now. We also have heard headlines recently that Morgan Stanley is going to start offering Bitcoin ETFs to their clients. And now today we have Bank of America's Merrill Edge and Wells Fargo apparently offering ETFs to wealth clients. Now we knew about Wells Fargo. This came out a while ago that they were going to start offering it, but unsolicited. So if someone comes to them and says, hey, we want it, they'll give it to them. But this Bank of America Merrill's Edge is new. For a while there, they said that they would evaluate whether they want to provide these ETFs to their clients. This is from about a month and a half ago, right after the ETFs were approved. But Vanguard has still been stuck not giving access to their clients. So this is big news that Bank of America Merrill's Edge is going to offer it. We know that the banks are chomping at the bit to offer this or to custody Bitcoin for their clients. Now maybe Vanguard is going to do this too. We just got news after the market closed today that Tim Buckley will retire by year end. The company said. Buckley spent more than 6 years atop Vanguard, the world's second largest asset manager. And recently, some people have been pissed. I've been watching Twitter, and a lot of people have left because they don't have access to the Bitcoin ETFs. They've been there their entire lives. And Vanguard says, no, you can't access the Bitcoin. We're not going to allow you to buy Bitcoin ETFs because it doesn't align with our own goals. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty pissed if my institution stopped me from getting a 50% return over the last month and a half. So I know a lot of people have left. Maybe it's because Tim Buckley is retiring. or leaving the company because he was kind of forced out after the whole fiasco with Bitcoin ETFs. Maybe he's taken a lot of blowback and they're going to totally change positions. Speaking about companies that are in trouble, New York Community Bank stock crashes 20% after reporting material weakness in internal controls. The weakness is reportedly related to loan review resulting from ineffective oversight and risk management. NYCB is the same bank that acquired the collapsed Signature Bank. So they acquire part of Signature Bank, or the majority of Signature Bank, and yet they still didn't review it enough to realize that these loans were not going to be good. This comes just weeks after the bank posted an unexpected $260 million loss. The stock is now at its lowest level since 1997. Massive drops. Now, how does this affect crypto? Well, obviously, if there are banks collapsing because of interest rates staying high, that causes a lot of concern among the American public. This causes people to realize that maybe I shouldn't keep money in small regional banks. Maybe I should just move it over to Bank of America or JP Morgan, because if you have over 250,000, you're not protected necessarily when a bank collapses. So if you have a couple million, let's say you're a big business and you have payroll, you might have millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in payroll. Well, you're going to have to be very careful if you keep it in any small bank. So a lot of these banks are going to die unless the Fed starts lowering rates, or unless it comes out that they're going to backstop these banks. And we know that last time, or one of the last times when the banks started collapsing, Bitcoin went on a massive rally when it was at $25,000. I believe it was at 25,000, maybe it was 20,000. It's hard to remember back a year ago, but March of last year, the bank started to collapse and Bitcoin went on a massive rally. So maybe that happens again. We also got a really interesting clip today. I want to play this for you. Michael Saylor reposted this, but this is the Bitwise CIO talking about Bitcoin right now and who's actually buying. And keep in mind, we did have another huge day of volume. IBIT had the second highest day, I believe, in volume that's had so far, with 1.9 billion in volume. GBTC also had a big day. We'll talk about what this means and whether this demand is going to continue in a moment. But let's play this video here first.
Bitcoin this morning trading just at about 63,000 almost, $62,808. Has now jumped 50% since the start of the year and is nearing its all-time high, with much of that action driven by heavy interest in new spot Bitcoin ETFs. Our next guest helps run one of them. I want to bring in Bitwise Chief Investment Officer Matt Hogan. Good morning to you. When you look at what's been driving this price action on Bitcoin, Matt, how much of this is retail investors investing directly in Bitcoin? How much of it is the ETF? How much of it is institutions in the ETF?
Absolutely. It's a great question. We're seeing enormous demand for the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and across all of these ETFs. And the answer is it's all of those categories. You're seeing retail investors come into these ETFs. You're seeing hedge funds. You're seeing RIAs or independent financial advisors. I think there's an even bigger wave coming in a few months as we start to see the major wirehouses turn on. But this has been Bitcoin's IPO moment. It's in a new era of price discovery. And I think prices could go substantially higher from here.
Let's talk about where they could go in just a minute. But I just want to go back to this idea of who you think is buying these ETFs, meaning how much of this is retail versus institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. When these ETFs first launch, they're not turned on at the major wirehouses, at the major institutions. So the initial demand out of the gate for any ETF, including these, is primarily retail and independent financial advisors and hedge funds. So I think that's the primary driver. That's what we're seeing. Right. But I'll tell you, after this meeting, I'm getting on a plane to go talk to one of the largest institutional consultants in the U.S. about this ETF. So We're going to see that next wave of institutional capital.
You did mention hedge funds, which I will put in sort of an institutional or professional category. In terms of this big move, do you think it's that money that's pushed this, or do you think it's straight retail?
Oh, I think it's both. I think it's both. It's just new demand. If you think about Bitcoin pre the ETFs, there was only a small set of investors who could buy it. Now almost everyone can buy it, and the supply-demand dynamic is just off the hook. There are 30,000 Bitcoin purchased by ETFs this week alone. Bitcoin miners have only created less than 3,000. That's what's driving the price, and it's both hedge funds and retail and that advisor community.
Obviously, you have one of these, so if you say it's going to go up, people will say you're talking your book. But if you were to say it's going to go up, where do you think it's going to go?
Absolutely.
And describe exactly why.
Yeah, sure. At the start of this year, in December, we actually published our 2024 predictions, and we said that Bitcoin would trade to new all-time highs above $80,000 a coin.
Listen to this.
Based on what we're seeing in our ETF and these other ETFs, I think we have to revise that upwards. It could be 100,000, it could be 200,000, it could be higher than that. There's simply this massive supply-demand dynamic going on, net new demand and a fixed supply, and actually a reduction in new supply coming up in April with the halvening. Sometimes investing is complex, sometimes it's easy. With Bitcoin right now, it's just about supply-demand, and there's too much demand
and not enough supply. So that is crazy. He's throwing out price targets. Obviously, maybe he's talking his book. He wants people to buy the Bitwise ETF, but he's throwing out price targets of 100 grand, 200 grand, maybe more. And if you think the demand is done, it's not. We've seen large entities continuously buy every couple hours, buying 100 Bitcoin. But even if you look at just BlackRock alone, if they want to get to 1% allocation in Bitcoin, and they're going to buy, let's say, $200 million net a day, they have 450 days that they're going to buy Bitcoin. Think about that. 450 days, trading days, that they can buy 200 million Bitcoin off the market. That's significant. That is multiples of what the miners can even mine, and that adds up. So they're only a tenth of the way there. They want a 1% allocation. Now, what if they move up to 2 or 3%? It was leaked yesterday that they told some private wealth clients that it's not unreasonable to have 28% allocation. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to go out and buy $2.8 trillion. But if they want to increase their AUM, what's the best way to do it? Try to push people to Bitcoin ETFs, because it's probably going to move up 2, 3, 4x. So just consider that. Like, this opportunity is crazy, and we may have just seen the beginning of people getting into this. I mean, think about how big Vanguard is. Vanguard is halfway in between the size of Fidelity and BlackRock. They're 1.5 times as big as Fidelity. And they may flip on the switch and start offering these Bitcoin ETFs. We also know that banks are getting into it. There are going to be more companies, large companies, that are going to start offering Bitcoin ETFs to their clients. We have countries that are buying. We have pensions that are buying. We have retirement accounts that are now being allocated some Bitcoin. So yeah, this is going to get crazy. We're going to see altcoins pump as well. I have a video coming on later tonight about some altcoins, specifically meme coins, but I think a lot of cryptos are going to go up. I'm still majority Bitcoin, but I think of altcoins as an interesting casino that you can make some good money on as well. Now, of course, like I said, you can check out the link to CoinW underneath the video in case you want to try trading or spot buying somewhere else besides Coinbase. You can also try out Margex, which allows you to leverage trade underneath the video. Both of those give you some bonuses when you use those links. And if you want to check out that CoinW video explaining how to buy cryptos and trade cryptos on the platform, I'll leave that on the end screen as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You can also check out the link to HGAaccess. I don't talk about this too much, but there is a link to this underneath the video where we talk about cryptos and what we're doing, what we're seeing in the market. So you can check this out. And there's a link to HGAlgo underneath the video as well, where it gives you bullish and bearish momentum indicators that can be super, super helpful, especially if you're kind of away from your computer. If you don't have time to look at your computer all day, you can actually get email sent to you. I have that now. Even though I'm here all day long, it is nice not to have to look at the chart all the time. So definitely check that out underneath the video as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.